Okay, so the rest of these questions are like more personal. So the first one is, how did you and Zack meet? So Zack and I had just so much in common. I was actually telling my grandma, like, there's this guy and I just have so much in common with him. We're like equals, we're the same, we're just exactly like looking in a mirror and seeing each other. And she's like, I don't know, I've heard opposites attract. And I was like, Grandma, I've had enough opposite in my life. So when Zack came along, it was just a breath of fresh air, but that has nothing to do with how we met. We basically just had so much in common. Like, we even had the same major. So we were just inseparable in college. So we ended up just getting married in college. And so that's what we did. And we didn't have any money. I remember one time I just like jumped up and hugged him because we were married and what we were having for dinner was another night of spaghetti with no meat. And we were just like so happy. So that's how we met, and the rest is history. What did you study in college and what is your day job? Okay, so I studied graphic design in college with a minor in advertising. I really loved all of the principles that I got from that. A lot of the other stuff has just changed with time. But the principles are what I'm really happy that I learned, especially about like advertising. So that was really cool. While I was in college, this was the most important part, I think, is that I was basically an apprenticeship level where I was able to like study and start my career at the same time. So I've been in the industry for several more years than someone who just came out of college and started their career. So that was really important, and I would tell anyone else to do that. But now I'm working from home in like a corporate setting still, where I'm a web designer and also I work on apps, so I design apps. And I've had a lot of crazy opportunities. Zach's in the same field, so we both have had really cool places that we could have worked for. Like, I almost worked for a place in Silicon Valley last year. So that was something I really had to consider and search my heart for. But I ended up thinking that this was better to kind of lay low and have more like work-life balance that I really need at this moment in my life. That's where I am right now, and I guess we'll see where I go next. Are you really 5'1"? Like, seriously? Okay, no, I'm 5'1.5". I'm sorry. Do you hate your height sometimes? How to start loving that I'm short, still struggling. So I think that height is most obnoxious during different things in life, like trying to see over the steering wheel or cleaning, because then when I get up high, like on a ladder, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've only been cleaning like half my house. Like, those are little things. I think overall I've chosen to embrace it because I'm not going to change it. There's nothing I can do at this point. Is your hair colored, or have you ever thought about going shorter? All right, so I don't color my hair. This is really just how it is naturally. It's like a chestnut brown, and there's things that I really like about it. I didn't always love it, like when I was growing up. I'm really thankful for my hair color, so I just kind of let it shine. I like that when I'm in the sunlight, it looks a little bit red, like it just does its own thing. I have embraced it. I don't know what I'll do when I turn gray. And I did cut it in 2013. I went with like a bob, so it was short, and I had cut off all of this. My hair was longer than it ever was at that point. And that was fun. I regretted trying to grow it back out again because that took forever, and I still haven't grown it all the way back out yet. But yeah, I've cut it, and it was different, but I like it longer. How do you maintain your clear skin? Okay, this is another video I feel like I could do a whole rant about, or not rant, but like just my journey of like trying to have clear skin. And I still don't fully. Like, I think right now, like, I've had a little bit more sugar, I've been not exactly watching what I eat, and that shows up on my skin. I think that I had real struggles with my hormones causing acne, and like, I got even more frustrated because the doctors that I consulted to about it were like, this is your life now, I'm sorry, and you can take pills if you want. But I'm a little bit more of a nerd about this type of stuff. Like, I wanted to figure out why and like what my body was trying to tell me and stuff. It turns out I have symptoms of PCOS, and I just manage that or try to regulate it through what I eat. I nerded out about this. Like, I took my temperature every morning to figure out what in my life was starting to affect my hormones. And I figured out that I am like allergic to chicken, more or less. So whenever I eat chicken, my temperatures just go up and down, and I can't control them. Like, my cycles were just completely screwed up. Whenever I didn't eat chicken or meat, aside from like fish or eggs, like I can still have those fish and eggs types of things, but that was a trigger for me. So how I maintain my skin is really through nutrition and assessing like what my own body can handle and what it needs and stuff. There's also a book, and I'm not crazy about the title or anything, but it's called The Woman Code. It just kind of looks kind of cheesy or weird or something, but it helps you eat for like every week as a woman, like to figure out what your body needs nutritionally and to eat kind of according to that. And the times that I've really focused in and done that, I've felt absolutely amazing. So I'll leave that link down in the descriptions where you guys can find that. Advice for a 20-year-old. I think that I would have told my 20-year-old self that everything's gonna work out and to not worry. There's so much though that I wish I would have done a little bit better. And one thing that has really helped me a lot is learning about finances. Dave Ramsey, his whole program has really transformed my financial life, my husband's, ours together. We've learned so much, and I think that especially, this might not be advice for a 20-year-old, but if you happen to be married, that it's really important to be on the same page about finances, even before you're married. Like, it's super important. And that's actually the number one cause of divorce, is like financial money fights and stuff like that. But also, I think why I'm talking about this for advice for a 20-year-old is because when you're 20, your life, like your finances, have so much more compound interest and can be every little decision you make today, whether you're gonna go buy a coffee, could really change your whole future by the time you're 80. And so just to use like wisdom with that and seek counsel for that. Dave Ramsey's program is just absolutely incredible, like life transforming, and it gave me a ton of hope at that age where I was like, oh my gosh, I can see things better now. I took his stuff when I was in college, my senior year, when I was like 21, 22. And that was like, I was so thankful to learn that stuff at that age. I also think while you're in your 20s, most people, that's really when you don't have a lot of other things going on. Like, you're not married a lot of times. A lot of people don't have kids at that age. So really chase your dreams, especially if you don't have any debt. You have so much flexibility and freedom. Like, this is a time in life where you can really just chase anything you really want to try or do. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing that you're going to do for life, but just to like try and flirt with different things in your life that you might want to pursue one day. So I would just not wait around and just go ahead and try those things. How do you stay fit? Okay, this is a question that I just absolutely love to answer, because when I talk about like my hobbies and stuff, I can't do that without talking about like trail running. There is nothing more fun to me than like going really fast through a trail in the woods. Like, it's so much fun, and your feet get better at it. I still have a scar on my knee where I totally biffed it. But overall, like, I've gotten better at it. I have so much more agility now, and it's so peaceful out there. So I go trail running a few times a week. I try to go as often as I can. And then also, I love to use the Sweat app if I just am inside or the weather's not great. That allows me to build a little bit more muscle, have more high intensity type of training. That just allows me to always be able to have the opportunity to work out at home. So the Sweat app is awesome. Favorite hobby? Okay, so I love to do oil painting. I've loved art since I was little. Like, it's just something I've always done and has been such a part of me and who I see myself as. So art is huge for me, and then I really don't know what I'd do without it. Like, it's that big. But then also, I've really loved to read because I've never been that great at reading, and it's something that I now do just as a hobby to kind of challenge myself and to have new life experiences just through books. Artists you look up to, dead or alive, and why? Okay, so I have a painting that someone made for me. His name was Raphael, and I think he was based out of Fort Lauderdale at the time, but this was years ago, like when I was little. He was an established artist, and he gave me this painting and wrote on the back of it to draw every day. I really don't know anything else about him. I only met him once, and he gave me some brushes too, and he was just such an inspiration. He actually created beautiful oil paintings of like the streets in Paris when they were rainy. Raphael, wherever you are, I don't even know if you're alive still. I mean, it was probably 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know. It was a very long time ago. But he was just absolutely incredible and inspirational to me. What's the last movie you saw in theater? So Zack and I just yesterday went to go see Won't You Be My Neighbor about Mr. Rogers. I watched Mr. Rogers all the time growing up, and so it's just so interesting to be able to see like why he made these videos or why he made these TV shows and why he actually fought for them to stay around in front of Congress. So that was really cool. And he also said some things that really inspired me. One being when he talks to the camera, he talks to one person. And that's really what I do too here. Like when I sit down with you, it's really just me and you. Like I don't see more than one, maybe two people in the room. That just makes me be able to share more, I think, or have more personal conversations. And that's what Mr. Rogers did too. I would definitely say to watch that. It was an amazing film. What inspires you to make art? Why I make art is because I feel like it's a way of feeling. And when I feel on a deeper level, then I'm able to spend more time and more patience on a piece of a painting. That was another thing that the Mr. Rogers show actually said is when he plays piano, it's like he enters into this country and it's a safe place for him to express himself. If he's angry, he can play angrily, or if he's happy or feels like crying, like he's able to express that. And so that's really why I love to paint or draw. Like I've always kind of expressed myself emotionally through that. And it's a great way, like it's a great release. And it's also a way where maybe someone else hasn't felt that way, but when they see the painting or any piece of art, then they feel something that they didn't understand, a different piece of life or a way of feeling. It just evokes feeling in someone else. So, would you like to live outside the US? I think that if I was going to, I would probably choose the UK just because it seems like something similar or more familiar to me to the US. I've only traveled a little bit outside the US. Like I went to Costa Rica and I've been to parts of Canada, but like I haven't done more traveling outside the US than that. The US is so big, like you could live in a different part of the US and feel like you're in a different country. But after like following some people from the UK who have like beautiful old historic country homes, I definitely could see myself in that type of situation. Plus, I've just read so much about Scotland and all of that that I could see myself easily living there. But moving to a different country, let alone like a different state of the US, would be so, I see that as so brave. So we'll see. I honestly am open to anything though. I've always told Zack, like, I'm willing to move anywhere. Like, I'm okay with any type of like future. I'm okay with that. Do you like to travel? And if so, what country would you like to visit next? I would love to go on like a multi-country trip to Europe one day. That would be so much fun. I would definitely love to see France. But I think that if I die and I haven't seen any of Europe, I would be like really sad about that. What genre would you choose to star in? Medieval, fantasy, or period dramas? 100% period dramas. Do you ever wake up in the morning and some days not feeling positive at all? You know, I think that when I feel that way, it usually is because my routine is just really screwed up. And I'm really working on my morning routine right now. And I've already seen more benefits of just like trying to go to bed earlier and waking up earlier. Getting ahead on my day makes me feel more positive. When I just can't get out of bed, I realize it's because I'm spreading myself so thin and there's no bedtime in sight. So I feel like my mattress is the only relaxation I get. So I've been trying to like change that and listen to my heart about that stuff. What do you do when you feel sad or unmotivated? This goes back to painting. That's really where I express it. As a type 4 on the Enneagram, sadness is something that I don't like shy away from. Like I just kind of listen to it and respect it. Do you follow a specific faith? Yeah, I'm a Christian, and I mentioned this in my last Q&A, but I think it's really good. One place that I love to listen to is my friend's church out in Nashville. It's called the Access Church, and he has a podcast that's just absolutely incredible and inspiring. So I'll link you guys down to his podcast so you guys can hear all of that. But really, there's no short answer on like how I feel and the things I believe, and just listening to his podcast I think is a pretty good representation of my own thoughts. What's your motto when the going gets tough? I think that one thing that Zack and I started doing in the last year is just to say, we win. Like, whatever it is, any tiny little thing, we're just gonna try to speak that like winning mindset into our lives. And I started doing it to my parents too. Like, anytime that they've had some sort of like struggle with just life, then I'm like, you know what? We win. And so that's what I've been saying a lot when the going gets tough, is just, we win. So I would definitely try that. It is really fun. Morning routine. Okay, so I'm actually going to do a video on this soon because it is something I'm really actively trying to make better. So definitely watch out for that. But I'm working on waking up at 5:30 now. So wish me luck. Favorite thing about living in Virginia. So the countryside of Virginia is something just so incredibly beautiful. It's a lot more mountainous than where I originally grew up from in North Carolina, in the part of North Carolina that I lived in. So I love to like go on the mountains and everything, but also Virginia's history is so old, especially in the landscape of the US. And history has its good and bad parts, but I love to be able to study that, and knowing that like I'm walking on the same brick road that XYZ walked on is just so cool and fun to read about. Like, I read George Washington's biography, which was the longest book I'd ever read at the time. It was so cool because I was on my patio and I was looking out at mountains of Virginia at the same time, knowing that he looked out on the same mountains, and that's been just so much fun, like interesting to me to learn about and appreciate. We've taken trips to like Monticello, and it's just really interesting to be able to see that side of history. Obviously, there's dark parts about Virginia history too, so that's something to like look at modern history, modern times, and like assess things that we could change and how people will view our society 100 years from now. So it's interesting to me. Are there any goals you want to complete this year yet? Oh my gosh, you guys, I could do a whole video just about goals because I really believe that I've lived this, so I know it's true. If you write down a goal, even if you don't plan to see that goal for years, if you're just like, in 2018, I want to accomplish this, even if it's completely outside of your control, if you just like write that down, you'll look back and see, I completed that early. Like, that happened way earlier than I thought it would. And so that's what I do. I kind of keep this like legacy journal of my goals and the things I've completed already. So at the end of the year, I write down everything that we completed, and then I make goals for the next year. And with goals, it's super important to not just say, I want to drink more water. Like, say, I want to drink 60 ounces a day. Or say something kind of lower so you're able to achieve it every day. I think once you learn how to win, that winning becomes achievable and you can set your sight on even bigger goals. Okay, last question is a biggie. When are you the happiest? There's different things I could think of as like when I'm excited or when something really awesome happens. But when I'm the happiest is when I feel the most content. And that's really when things start to happen. The exciting things start to happen. It's before that, like right before that. Anytime I've been like super content about where I am, that's when things have kind of broken through. So I would say that I'm the happiest when I choose to be content in my life, because it is a choice. I could choose to like think about all the ways that I wish that my life was, or decisions I should have made. But if I'm just content with who I am, oh my gosh, self-acceptance has been such a learning experience, and just contentment in my own life, where I'm at, with the fact that I have a cat and an awesome husband and a tiny, quiet apartment with little birds outside. Like, I'm content right now. And there's places that I'd like to move to one day. There's a nicer car would be awesome. But I'm so content with the fact that we have a paid off car and just like basic, you know. I'm so happy when I choose to be content. And that's pretty much it. And I hope you guys liked this very long Q&A that I will have probably split into 2 parts by now. Thanks for listening and following along. It means so much to me, everyone who's listened and asked questions and just been a friend. It just means so much. So thank you guys. Bye.